Captain Jacob Steele leaned back in his chair, the creak of the faux leather filling the cramped bridge of the Venture Star. The console flickered with intermittent static as it struggled to maintain the ship's aging communications systems. "Captain, you'll want to see this," said Lieutenant Mira, her voice tinged with disbelief. She handed Jacob a tablet displaying the decoded message that had just come through. The Galactic Council's emblem, a circle surrounded by stars, was unmistakable at the top. Jacob raised an eyebrow, his curiosity piqued. "From the Galactic Council? Are you sure it's not a prank, Mira?" "I've triple-checked the encryption myself. It's authentic," Mira replied, her tone firm. She leaned over Jacob's shoulder, pointing at the screen. "They're summoning you to a hearing regarding Earth's classification." Jacob skimmed the message, his mind racing. A hearing? About Earth? What have those bureaucrats found so interesting now? The message was brief but explicit. "Captain Jacob Steele is hereby requested to attend a formal inquiry at the Galactic Hub regarding the recent classification of Earth as a death world. Your experience and expertise in navigating its diverse ecosystems are invaluable." "Why me, though? There are far more qualified experts on Earth itself," Jacob muttered, more to himself than to Mira. "Maybe because you've spent more time out here than anyone else from our blue marble. You know how these council types think, mysterious and overly cautious," Mira said, trying to lighten the mood. Jacob tapped a command into the console, pulling up the star map. "Set course for the Galactic Hub. If the council wants to talk, we'll talk. But I'm not letting them dictate terms about our home without hearing what they've actually got to say." As the coordinates were set and the ship began its calculations for the hyperspace jump, Jacob turned to his crew. "Listen up, everyone. We're heading to the Galactic Hub. I know it's unexpected, but I need all hands on deck and sharp. This could very well determine the future of Earth." The crew nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation as they went about their tasks with renewed vigor. The journey to the Galactic Hub was tense, with Jacob spending hours poring over every scrap of data about Earth's recent activities and any possible reasons behind its sudden ominous classification. Finally, the Venture Star approached the sprawling space station that served as the heart of the Galactic Council. The structure was a marvel of engineering, a vast collection of interlocking rings and radiating arms that housed thousands of representatives from across the galaxy. As they docked, an official greeting party awaited Jacob. A tall, slender figure with iridescent skin stepped forward, extending a hand. "Captain Steele, I'm Ambassador Ilreen from the Andromi sector. Welcome to the Galactic Hub. The Council appreciates your prompt response." Jacob shook her hand, noting the coolness of her touch. "Ambassador, I hope this isn't just a formality. Earth isn't just another item on your agenda. It's our home. Rest assured, Captain Steele, your voice will be heard. Earth's situation is unique, and we are eager to understand it fully from those who know it best," Ilreen replied, her eyes gleaming with an unreadable expression. As Jacob followed the ambassador through the bustling corridors of the station, his resolve hardened. Whatever the Galactic Council thought or planned, he was there to stand for Earth, to protect it from being misunderstood or mishandled by those who had never set foot on its soil. The docking clamps of the Venture Star latched onto the Galactic Hub with a solid thunk that reverberated through the hull. Captain Jacob Steele peered out of the viewport, his gaze sweeping over the colossal station that teemed with a myriad of alien architectures and shimmering lights. Lieutenant Mira joined him, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's bigger than any city on Earth," she remarked, pressing her hand against the glass. Jacob nodded, his focus sharpening. "And every corner filled with potential friends or foes. Stay sharp, we're not here to sightsee." He turned to his communications officer. "Raj, ensure our comms are secure. I don't want any surprises." "Already on it, Captain," Raj replied, his fingers dancing over the controls. As they disembarked, a small delegation greeted them. A thin, bipedal creature with a chitinous exoskeleton stepped forward, extending a clawed hand. "Welcome, Captain Steele. I am Secretary Thrix of the Council's Diplomatic Corps. We have prepared for your arrival." Jacob shook his hand, feeling the alien's sharp carapace against his palm. "Secretary Thrix, thank you. I trust we can proceed quickly to the matter at hand." "Of course, Captain. If you will follow me, we have arranged a brief tour of the hub before your meeting. It's customary to familiarize our guests with our facilities," Thrix explained, leading the way through the bustling station. As they walked, Jacob couldn't help but feel the weight of countless eyes upon him. Alien species of all shapes and sizes mingled in the corridors, some giving him curious glances. He kept his expression neutral, aware of the importance of first impressions. They passed through a market district where vendors of exotic goods called out in a cacophony of languages, enticing passers-by with vibrant fruits, floating crystals, and live creatures in suspended animation. Jacob paused at a stall displaying holographic maps of different star systems. "These are impressive," he commented, glancing at the vendor, a small rodent-like creature with glowing eyes. "Maps of uncharted territories, Captain. Perhaps you'll find them useful," the vendor squeaked, sensing a potential sale. "Maybe another time," Jacob replied, smiling politely before continuing on. Their next stop was the Central Assembly area, where debates and decisions of galactic import were made. The vast chamber was lined with tiers of seats, each filled with representatives engaged in heated discussion. Secretary Thrix gestured to the center of the room. "This is where you will speak tomorrow, Captain Steele. The Council is eager to hear your testimony about Earth." Jacob surveyed the assembly, his mind racing through potential scenarios. "I'll be ready," he assured Thrix, though his heart pounded at the thought of addressing such a diverse audience. Finally, they arrived at the guest quarters, where Jacob and his crew would stay. "Rest well, Captain. Tomorrow is a big day," Thrix said, bowing slightly before departing. Jacob entered his quarters, the door hissing shut behind him. He stood at the window, looking out at the stars. The peace of the view belied the turmoil he felt inside. Tomorrow he would defend his planet, and nothing could have prepared him for the enormity of the task ahead. "Earth," he whispered to himself. "Hang on." The Central Assembly chamber of the Galactic Hub was abuzz with anticipation as Captain Jacob Steele prepared to defend Earth's status before the Galactic Council. Delegates from hundreds of planets filled the tiered seats, their varied forms casting a kaleidoscope of shadows across the polished floors. Jacob stood beside Secretary Thrix at the entrance, surveying the room. "Quite the audience," Jacob muttered under his breath, adjusting the collar of his uniform. "Indeed, Captain. Remember, the translators are calibrated, but speak clearly to avoid misinterpretations," Thrix advised, nodding towards the small device clipped to Jacob's collar. As they made their way to the central podium, whispers and murmurs filled the air, the alien delegates openly curious about the human who dared challenge a council decision. Jacob climbed the steps to the podium, each step resonant in the hushed chamber. The presiding officer, a dignified figure with translucent skin and a flowing robe, gestured for silence. "We welcome Captain Jacob Steele of Earth to address the council. You may begin, Captain." Jacob cleared his throat, his gaze sweeping over the assembly. "Honored delegates, I stand before you not just as a representative of Earth, but as someone who has witnessed both its beauty and its ferocity firsthand." He paused, letting his words sink in. Earth is classified as a death world, not because it harbors malice towards life, but because it embodies the fierce spirit of survival. To us, it's home. To you, it's a mystery filled with danger. A delegate from a water planet, his voice bubbling through a translator, interrupted. "Captain Steele, our expeditions to your world report lethal climates, predatory species, and numerous fatalities. How do you explain this?" Jacob nodded respectfully. "Our planet is indeed a cradle of diverse and robust ecosystems. What you see as lethal, we've adapted to thrive in. Our wildlife, our climates, they've shaped us as much as we've shaped them. The fatalities you speak of are tragic, but also a result of underestimating Earth's complexity." A murmur ran through the crowd. Jacob pressed on. "Consider this. What if instead of fearing Earth, we learn from it? What if its very challenges are what can teach us all to adapt and survive?" A feathered delegate from an avian species ruffled her plumage. "Are you suggesting we ignore the dangers?" "Not ignore, but understand," Jacob replied firmly. "By learning and respecting the balance of our world, perhaps we can help others adapt their own worlds. Isolation isn't the answer, cooperation is." The room fell silent, the delegates absorbing his words. Jacob felt a flicker of hope as he saw intrigue replace skepticism on some faces. Finally, the presiding officer spoke again. "Thank you, Captain Steele. Your insights are enlightening. We will deliberate further based on your testimony. You are dismissed." As Jacob descended from the podium, Secretary Thrix leaned in. "Well spoken, Captain. I believe you've given them much to consider." Jacob allowed himself a small smile. "Let's hope it's enough to make a difference, Secretary." As he walked back to his quarters with Mira, he felt the weight of his words lingering in the air. Tomorrow, the Council would decide Earth's fate, and Jacob could only wait, hoping his defense had resonated with the galaxy's leaders. After his speech, Captain Jacob Steele returned to the Galactic Hub's vast network of corridors, his mind preoccupied with the day's proceedings. Lieutenant Mira walked beside him, her face etched with concern. "That was intense, Jacob. Do you think they'll side with us?" Mira asked, glancing sideways at her captain. Jacob sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I honestly don't know, Mira, but I did what I could. Now, it's about playing the political game and forging the right alliances." Their next task was to navigate the complex social structure of the Galactic Council. Jacob planned to approach different delegates, hoping to sway their opinions or at least gather insights into their voting intentions. They started at a reception designed for mingling post-session, a room filled with representatives from various star systems, each group chatting in clusters, sipping on exotic beverages that steamed and fizzled. Jacob approached a group of delegates from a nearby star cluster known for their technological advancements. "Good evening," Jacob greeted, extending a hand. "I'm Captain Steele from Earth." A tall, slender figure with skin that shimmered like polished metal responded. "We know who you are, Captain. Your speech was quite bold. I am Sila of the Takari system. We're intrigued by Earth's potential. Tell us, what kind of technological advancements has your isolation fostered?" Jacob engaged eagerly, discussing Earth's unique technologies, especially in renewable energy and robotics, careful to highlight how these could benefit other civilizations. Sila listened intently, her bright eyes narrowing thoughtfully. Meanwhile, Mira drifted to another group, overhearing snippets of conversation from a delegate whose species was known for their conservative views. "Earth is too unpredictable," the delegate was saying, a scowl crossing his features. "It should remain quarantined." Returning to Jacob, Mira relayed her findings. "Not everyone is convinced, Jacob. Some are afraid of what Earth represents." Jacob's jaw tightened. Fear of the unknown. We need to turn that fear into respect, or at least into curiosity. Let's split up and cover more ground. We gather more support and information. As the evening wore on, Jacob and Mira worked the room. Jacob's charm and earnestness won over a few undecided delegates, particularly with those who valued human tenacity and adaptability. However, not all were swayed. A group of militant delegates viewed Earth's dangerous environment as a potential weapon. "Imagine harnessing such ferocity," one murmured to another, not realizing Jacob was within earshot. Realizing the potential threat, Jacob decided it was crucial to address these misconceptions directly. He approached the group, offering a vision of Earth as a place of learning rather than a weapon. "The challenges we've overcome can help teach resilience and adaptability across the galaxy," he argued, trying to shift their perspective from exploitation to cooperation. The night drew to a close with mixed results. Jacob and Mira regrouped, sharing their insights and strategizing their next moves. "We've made some headway, but there's a lot of work to be done," Jacob admitted as they headed back to their quarters. "Tomorrow, we need to solidify these potential alliances and counter any negative narratives." Mira nodded, her expression determined. "We'll get them on our side, Jacob. Earth deserves that chance." The following day, Captain Jacob Steele decided to take a bold step to challenge the misconceptions surrounding Earth. He proposed an organized expedition to Earth itself, inviting key delegates of the Galactic Council to witness firsthand the complexity and beauty of his home planet. In a smaller, more private meeting room within the Galactic Hub, Jacob stood before a select group of delegates whose influence could sway the Council's decisions. "Ladies and gentlemen, I understand that the idea of Earth as a death world may evoke fear or even opportunism," Jacob started, his voice steady and commanding. "But I firmly believe that seeing Earth for yourselves will reveal the truth of our world, not just as a place of danger, but as a realm of immense ecological balance and potential." A delegate from a species known for their scientific curiosity, a bipedal creature with iridescent feathers, tilted her head, her eyes reflecting a keen intelligence. "An expedition could provide us with invaluable data," she murmured thoughtfully. "Exactly," Jacob affirmed. "It's not just about disproving the death world status, it's about understanding and learning from Earth's resilience. This could benefit all our civilizations." The proposition sparked interest among the group, and discussions began to circulate around the logistics of such a journey, the safety measures, and what they hoped to learn. Secretary Thrix, who had been quietly observing, finally spoke up. "Captain Steele, this is an unprecedented proposal. I believe it has merit, but it must be approved by a higher assembly. I will arrange for you to present this to the full council." Grateful for the opportunity, Jacob prepared meticulously, gathering data, images, and testimonials about Earth's environments and the humans who thrived there. At the full council meeting, Jacob presented his proposal with the passion of a true Earth advocate. He showed vibrant images of Earth's landscapes, from the lush Amazon rainforest, teeming with life, to the grandeur of the Himalayas and the vastness of the oceans. He spoke of how humanity had learned to respect and protect these treasures, even in the face of adversity. A delegate from a desert planet raised a concern about safety. "How do you propose we handle Earth's more aggressive fauna?" Jacob smiled slightly. "With respect and caution, as one should approach any unfamiliar environment. We have protocols and experts who specialize in dealing with Earth's wildlife. Your safety will be our top priority." The debate continued, with Jacob addressing each concern thoughtfully and confidently, reinforcing his message of mutual benefit and shared knowledge. As the meeting concluded, the council agreed to organize the expedition, swayed by Jacob's conviction and the promise of new scientific and cultural exchanges. They scheduled the visit for the coming month, giving Jacob and his team time to prepare. Returning to his quarters, Jacob felt a surge of hope. This was his chance to change Earth's destiny, and perhaps, more importantly, to bridge the gap between humanity and the galactic community. Mira, ever supportive, clapped him on the back. "You did it, Jacob. They're actually coming." "Yeah," Jacob replied, allowing himself a rare grin. "Now we just have to show them the real Earth. Let's hope they're ready for it." The preparations for the interstellar delegation's visit were extensive. Captain Jacob Steele and his team worked tirelessly, coordinating with Earth's authorities to ensure that every aspect of the visit would reflect both the beauty and the challenges of their home planet. As the Venture Star descended through Earth's atmosphere, Jacob looked out the viewport at the sprawling landscapes below, feeling a mix of pride and anxiety. Beside him, delegates from various corners of the galaxy peered out with a mixture of awe and apprehension. "Welcome to Earth," Jacob announced as they landed smoothly on a designated landing pad near the Amazon rainforest. "Our first stop will be one of the most biodiverse regions on our planet." The group disembarked, and Jacob introduced Dr. Lena Kim, an expert in Earth's ecological systems. Dr. Kim will guide us through the Amazon, explaining the ecological balance and the species that thrive here. Dr. Kim led the way, her enthusiasm infectious as she pointed out various plant species and explained their roles in the ecosystem. The delegates listened intently, their recording devices whirring softly. A delegate from a primarily aquatic planet, clad in a specialized moisture suit, leaned closer to a flowering plant, fascinated by the way it adapted to its environment. "Incredible," he murmured. "Such diversity and such density." As they ventured deeper, a sudden rustling in the bushes halted the group. A large capybara emerged, followed by a troop of curious squirrel monkeys. The delegates froze, then relaxed as Dr. Kim explained their behaviors and diets. "None of these creatures are hostile if respected and given space," she explained. "It's a fundamental rule on Earth: coexistence." The next part of the journey took them to the Sahara Desert, offering a stark contrast to the lush rainforest. Here, Jacob discussed how humans and wildlife adapted to the extreme conditions. "The resilience of life is nowhere more evident than in the desert," Jacob said, gesturing towards the seemingly endless sands. "Species here have evolved in fascinating ways to conserve water and avoid heat." A delegate from a volcanic planet nodded appreciatively. "It's much like our adaptations to lava flows and ash clouds. Adversity breeds ingenuity." The tour concluded in the Himalayas, where the crisp mountain air and majestic peaks left the delegates speechless. They gathered in a heated observatory, sipping hot beverages as Jacob summed up the journey. Each of these environments, while challenging, is home to a myriad of life forms. Earth teaches us about adaptation, survival, and the beauty of life in all its forms, Jacob reflected, watching their faces. The delegates shared their thoughts, many expressing newfound respect and admiration for Earth's complexities. "We came expecting to confirm a death world," one delegate admitted, "but we leave with the understanding of a life world, vibrant and vigorous in its diversity." As the Venture Star lifted off, returning to the galactic hub, Jacob felt a quiet satisfaction. He had not only shown them Earth through his eyes, but had also helped them see the potential for learning and growth that Earth offered to the galaxy. The atmosphere aboard the Venture Star was charged with a hopeful energy as the delegates discussed their experiences on Earth. However, as they approached the galactic hub, an urgent message intercepted their communications, casting a shadow over their newfound optimism. Captain Steele, we have an emergency. The voice of Secretary Thrix crackled over the comms. A faction within the Council, unconvinced by your demonstrations, has initiated a move to militarize Earth's environment. They're calling for an immediate vote to sanction their plan. Jacob's heart sank. Understood, Secretary. We're on our way. He turned to the delegates. It seems our journey isn't over. Earth is still in danger, and I need your help more than ever. As they docked at the hub, Jacob and the delegates rushed to the council chamber, where heated debates were already underway. The chamber buzzed with tension, the air thick with the stakes of the impending decision. Jacob approached the podium once again, his allies among the delegates behind him. Esteemed members of the council, Earth is not a weapon. It is a cradle of life that has taught us resilience and beauty. To weaponize it would be to destroy what makes it unique. A delegate from the militant faction rose, his tone sharp. Captain Steele, while your words paint a romantic picture, they do not alleviate our concerns. Earth's dangerous species and unpredictable climates could be assets in our defense strategies across the galaxy. Jacob responded, his voice firm. What you see as weapons are beings and ecosystems that have evolved over millennia. They are not meant to be controlled or unleashed as tools of war. The debate raged on, with both sides presenting their arguments. It was clear that the decision would be close. Jacob's allies spoke passionately about their experiences, their voices a chorus of reason against the militarization proposal. As the council prepared to vote, Jacob held his breath, hoping that the seeds of understanding he had planted would bear fruit. The votes were cast and tallied. The chamber fell silent as the presiding officer prepared to announce the outcome. By a narrow margin, the council has voted against the proposal to militarize Earth's environment. A wave of relief washed over Jacob. But his victory was short-lived. The militant faction, disgruntled and defiant, made one last, desperate move. They launched a covert operation to kidnap key delegates who had supported Earth, hoping to leverage them for their agenda. Jacob and his team, along with a few loyal delegates, embarked on a daring rescue mission. Using his knowledge of Earth's tactics and the diverse abilities of his alien allies, Jacob orchestrated a successful rescue. As they returned the delegates safely to the hub, the council reconvened, this time to address the breach of peace. The actions of the militant faction were condemned, and stricter measures were put in place to prevent such extremism. Thank you, Captain Steele, for your bravery and leadership, the presiding officer declared. Earth has proven itself not only as a member of the galactic community, but as a vital voice for peace and cooperation. As the assembly applauded, Jacob felt a profound sense of accomplishment. Earth's status had been defended, and perhaps more importantly, it had demonstrated its value beyond just survival. It was a beacon of cooperation and understanding in the galaxy. Back in the Galactic Council's main chamber, a new atmosphere of respect and collaboration filled the air as Captain Jacob Steele took the podium once more. This session was to finalize Earth's status in the wake of recent events, a direct result of the successful mission and the powerful advocacy by the rescued delegates. The recent actions taken against Earth and some of our most esteemed council members have shown us the dangers of fear and misunderstanding, Jacob began, addressing the assembled delegates. His voice resonated with the confidence of a leader who had not only saved his allies, but also his world. But they have also highlighted the strength of unity and the power of seeing beyond our differences. He paused, letting his gaze sweep across the room, meeting the eyes of those he had fought alongside and those he had swayed with his words. Earth does not wish to be feared as a death world, but rather understood and appreciated for its unique challenges and its contributions to the galaxy. We seek to be partners in this great community, sharing our strengths and learning from yours. The presiding officer, a venerable figure who had seen the tide of opinion shift dramatically, nodded in agreement. Captain Steele, your words today and your actions over these past weeks have not gone unnoticed. It is clear to this council that Earth has much to offer. She turned to the assembly. As such, I propose that we rescind the DeathWorld classification and officially recognize Earth as a protected world, focusing on conservation and cultural exchange rather than isolation. Murmurs of assent filled the chamber, and the vote was called. One by one, the delegates cast their votes, this time overwhelmingly in favor of the new proposal. When the final tally was displayed, a cheer erupted from the chamber, a sound of victory and relief. Jacob felt a profound sense of pride and accomplishment. He had come to the Galactic Hub under a cloud of suspicion and fear, and now he stood as a representative of a world not only accepted but respected and protected. After the session, delegates from various planets approached Jacob, their attitudes warm and their intentions clear. They wanted to learn from Earth, to exchange knowledge, and to visit this once-feared planet. As he prepared to leave the Galactic hub, Jacob shared a quiet moment with Mira and the rest of his crew. "We've done more than save Earth today," he said, a smile spreading across his face. "We've opened a door to the future, for Earth and for the Galactic Council." Mira nodded, her eyes shining with emotion. "And to think they called us a DeathWorld. Now we're a symbol of life and unity." As the Venture Star set a course back to Earth, Jacob looked out into the vastness of space, a frontier now filled with endless possibilities. Earth was their home, a world of incredible diversity and resilience, now ready to take its place in the galaxy, not as a world to be feared, but as a vital and vibrant member of the galactic community. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter, and Jacob knew that this was just the beginning. Earth's journey in the galaxy was far from over. It was entering a new chapter of cooperation, understanding, and peace.